Wake up, girl bosses. It's time to hit the slay button. Hi, ugly. It's me, Busferatu, and welcome back to Hot or Hot. And today we'll be reviewing episode 4 of RuPaul's Drag Race Season 17, in which our queens were challenged to perform musical renditions of iconic Drag Race moments in self-directed music video commercials. Say that 5 times fast. She got press plucked and took a jump. Well, y'all are really getting to see how the sausage is made today. Where assignments for tracks were determined by little pink slips drawn randomly from Bruno's big pink furry box. And runway category was quilted, for your pleasure. So we'll be going queen by queen to break all that down, except for where the queens were grouped up within their groups in the challenge, where for when that happened, we'll review their performance in the challenge at the same time. And in the order they hit the runway tonight, first up, it's Lydia B. Kollins, who on the runway tonight's giving us a nightmare of beige quilt work accessorized with plenty of rhinestones and pearls. And I really love how in this she's playing with the softness and darkness at the same time, and how those hair tendrils are not only coming around her head and hanging out of the top of the headpiece, but also a little bit on her face as well. Like maybe she's been sweating so much from the nightmare that it's stuck to her face. And artistically, I just had so much fun with this runway. On the other hand though, I do think Lydia continues to run into the problem on the runway where she's thinking more is more. Like in this look, for example, how she has those white teddy bears and tulle wrapped around the bottom part of her look, specifically on the legs, and then kind of trailing off behind her. I think those are supposed to add like an ethereal or ghosty kind of quality while also serving as a bit of structure for those leg components, but I just think that they were not needed here, and honestly distract from what was a pretty cool look without them. I think with a few more edits to create some clean lines that this could have been a really awesome runway, but as presented, it's giving bottom half is kind of a mess, and I'm gonna give that a rot, and the top half is so super cool that I love it, so I'm gonna give it a hot. And in the challenge, Lydia gets the role of Mystique and is partnered up with Lana, who's playing Morgan McMichael's role for their song, No Class, No Manners. And their song very much has this folk indie singer-songwriter country vibe to it that I think they play into well in the delivery of their lyrics. But more importantly, they captured the visual storytelling element of what they were supposed to be doing in this challenge. Because we see in their music video, they're standing next to each other, two country cousins just playing their guitars, but what appears to be a sweet, loving relationship from the outset turns out to be a heated rivalry. And the first thing that came to mind when I saw them doing this was the hillbilly moments from the Amanda show, where Amanda would be standing there with her scene mate and they'd be hitting each other with cucumbers, fish, farm tools, whatever they had around them. And I think considering the short amount of time these queens had to tell their stories in these music videos, they did such a great job because they reached into that frenemies cliche that we all know, but then also made it slapstick and very, you know, good for TV type of funny. So I'm gonna give both these queens 4 flames. And next up, it's Lana, who on the runway is giving us some quilt prism power Sailor Moon realness. Yes, God. I loved this as soon as she stepped out because I love a good Sailor Moon manga anime type reference on the runway. And I think she looks absolutely gorgeous in this look. Again, 100% proving that she has that model runway quality to her that is just stunning in pretty much any garment. My one kind of question mark on this look was the use of that, dare I say, poopy green color on like the boot covers and then in some of the other quilting of this. I just didn't like that color personally, but that's just me nitpicking some small details because overall I really did love this look. I'm gonna give it a hot. And next up is the Premier Slasian Diva of LA, who's literally an icon and literally known for her opulent looks. And tonight on the runway, she is definitely serving a look that she will literally be known for the rest of her drag career. Because she came out dressed like a gay Pop-Tart with a glory hole cut in the front. Mama, this is insane. This is insane to do. Like, can you believe she did this? I was gagged. I'm still gagged looking at it. And like, it was overwhelming when she came out and her little face was just peeking through that glory hole mattress situation. But then she turns around and reveals the RuPaul airbrush. And I'm speechless over this, truly. It is a stunningly bad look. It is, I think, going to be the golden boot of the season. And I think for the painted art on the back to be the quality that it is, combined with everything else going on, she has to know how bad this look is, right? And so I will say, yes, obviously this look is a rat. It is and always will be an important part of the RuPaul's Drag Race discourse from here on out. And at the end of the day, Joella was right. No one else could or would ever. And over in the challenge, Joella's playing Mariah in the song We Write the Stories, which I will firstly point out, I thought it was kind of an odd choice to reference for an iconic Drag Race moment, because there's a lot of Mariah things that I think could have been used. But let me also say, I don't think there was a better part for Joella to get here, because the juxtaposition of having her act the way she's been acting in all of these crazy untucked moments, to her now in this music video challenge basically playing a drag pastor, like it's almost giving it's a little too good to be true. But unfortunately for Joella, the parallels between her drag delusion and playing a pastor in this video commercial didn't translate into a great sketch. And it's not that she was bad. I actually was entertained by what she was doing as a pastor, jumping around and blessing people and whatever she was doing. But I also felt like it was a lot of the exact same thing just happening over and over. And then even towards the end of this sketch, where the vocals dropped out, the music video just kept kind of going, and the editors were even reusing some of the same clips where she's like taking off the wig, and it just didn't seem to go anywhere else. I also agree with what Lexi was saying about Joella's performance in it not being very good in the face, because there were moments where Joella would really sell it, but then others where she just kind of had a flatness in her facial choreography. I was looking for a bigger finish, so I'm gonna leave this with a soft. And next up, are you ready? It's Arrietty, who on the runway is giving us a little cyberpunk Matrix fantasy meets likes to quilt in her free time at first inspection. But the tea is, the fabric she's used to create these really cool structured asymmetrical components of this look, which are very cool, is not or does not look to be an actual quilted material. I don't see any stitching or anything that would indicate there were different pieces of fabrics attached together. And like I said, this did visually trick me at first because it has patterning that does look like some quilt patterns I've seen. But because there's nothing quilted on this look, she didn't achieve the brief, and none of the other queens seem to really have an issue with that on the runway tonight. And I will say this is a really cool look. I love the aesthetic. I would wear it. I think she looks great in it. But yeah, I mean, it's not part of the runway brief, really. It's just kind of trying to be. So I guess we'll give it a soft rock. And in the challenge, Arrietty's playing Alyssa Edwards and is joined by Jules Sparkles playing the J. Jolie part in their song, Bankrolls. Bankrolls. And one thing I thought was curious about this duo's music video is that although only one of them, Arrietty, had the Alyssa Edwards part, they made the creative decision, I suppose, for them both to heavily play into the Alyssa Edwards isms. And while that was smart and worked really well for Jules, I can't say the same about Arrietty, because ultimately Jules, who had the J. Jolie part, was way more Alyssa Edwardsy than Arrietty was. Like, you could absolutely see Jules not afraid to look foolish with all the crazy facial expressions and the messy hair, and like, she just is having so much fun with this part, and it radiates through the screen. But she does do so well in this that she's kind of the only thing you remember, and Arrietty is unfortunately here very much taking a back seat to the Jules Sparkles show. Where the other issue this group had was, I think, coming up with something more creative for the storytelling and set design, because they're kind of just pointing at each other and then walking around this couch where Lana is mysteriously sitting, and otherwise just trying to be goofy and silly, which again worked really well for Jules, but not so much for Arrietty. And so I'd give them both hots, with Jules having one more flame than Arrietty. And in this episode's Untucked, we see Arrietty is quite bothered by her reception in tonight's episode, because not only is her runway being critiqued as off brief, she's also getting these comments from Michelle about the white that she paints on her nose, and how Michelle thinks it looks like she's painting to be in the musical Cats, which is a crazy thing to say about somebody's signature makeup, but it is Michelle Visage, and she is the queen of the show us some versatility critiques. So here it is. And next up, it's Jules Sparkles, who on the runway is giving us like a Y2K Bratz doll meets Maleficent, or insert generic Disney villain name silhouette here. I don't really like the components and final effect of this garment. I think the collar is super fun, the bodice is neat, and the train is glamorous. But I kind of wanted to hear some more storyline or reasoning behind her wearing this, because it does look really good, and I like the severity of this dramatic silhouette she's created. And I guess I'm just missing a bigger point of view in this look, but I'm gonna give it a safe. And next up, it's Hormona Lisa, who on the runway is giving us farmhouse mother, country doll, queen of the quilts, Cabbage Patch. And y'all, this is, I think, a pretty dress made of quilts with a solid silhouette. And I think Hormona really understands that pretty simple drag aesthetic that she executes on every single week. And what she's been presenting is good. It's solid. But I am kind of questioning, like, what is the next layer of Hormona Lisa? Who else is this queen besides just pretty? Because Paul is just fun and nice and whatever, but I'm looking for a little more grit, a little more, you know, flavor in what's happening in these runways. But it's a perfectly adequate dress made of quilts, and that was what the brief called for, so I'm gonna give this a safe And in the challenge, she's singing the part of Chanel to I Nominate Myself from when she nominated herself for elimination in season 1. And this music video is about Hormona as Chanel pushing forward to the front, stealing the spotlight, throwing her tantrum, plucking her nose hairs, and just feeling all of that fantasy. And I think there really is something about the I'm the Grand Dame Diva of it all energy that I get from this track that I feel resonates with Hormona Lisa. But this music video was kind of like her runway to me, where I thought what she did was good. Like, she technically checked off all of the boxes and completed the assignment. I was just looking for something a little bit more exciting or something to really grab onto besides the obvious storytelling of being a diva. But I'm gonna leave this with a safe. And next up, it's her world and we're just living in it. It's Crystal Envy, who on the runway comes out in this, which was absolutely breathtakingly gorgeous. I loved this quilted coat so much. I think those gold and red colors are so beautiful. And honestly, I was taking this coat quilt gown situation in and then was gooped and gagged and shocked and surprised when she revealed that that wasn't even the entirety of the outfit. And in fact, she's got on another ribbed for her pleasure red look underneath the quilted gown coat of it all. And this was so crazy because like I did not even need, want, or expect another look underneath the gorgeous quilted coat she's wearing, but I wasn't mad that it happened. And it honestly just kind of took me a few seconds to like even appreciate or realize like what she was doing. But really both layers of this are so phenomenal and the details are so gorgeous. And I think she did a great job on this runway. It's absolutely hot. And over in the challenge, she's playing the part of Latrice Royale to the song Unprofessional, a song which spends its time revisiting when Latrice called out the rest of season 4 for being unprofessional during Snatch Game, and also uses her iconic 5Gs, Good God Girl, Get a Grip. And Latrice, as one of the biggest personalities in Drag Race history, had huge shoes to fill in this role. And honestly, I didn't know if Crystal could rise to this challenge, but Mother absolutely did, and then some. She's running around looking super hot in this music video as essentially the drag judge, jury, and executioner of who's being immature or unprofessional or what have you in the video. But she's like pushing her castmates into the couch, and then they're falling all over the floor, and she's up on a big shade button podium, and she's basically acting out and delivering these lines in such a way that it looks like she is the ultimate boss of this workroom, romper room shenanigans tomfoolery. And it very much reminded me of that scene in Charlie's Angels where Lucy Liu is running around the boardroom with that tight leather outfit on and getting all those men interested. Crystal understood the assignment, did the homework, and turned in the extra credit. This was hot. And I just want to quickly remind you that you can help support the channel by becoming a member of my Patreon, where my Patreon family gets exclusive member benefits like early access to my YouTube videos and access to tons of exclusive videos like my reactions to the best parts of every episode of Drag Race I review. And you can do so by clicking the link in the description of this video. See you there. And next up, it's Miss Suzie, Toot, who on the runway says she's giving us a Lord of the Rings fantasy-inspired look with a little squiggly headpiece situation that has its own fabric drapery flowing off to the side of her head, and where the patchwork and quiltery of this look comes in the skirt of her gown in those cut triangle patterns with the gold trim. Don't show that trim to Jules and Onya though. This look wasn't one that I looked at and immediately thought, whoa, but was one that when I spent more time with it grew to appreciate, because this is a form of patchwork quilting in the skirt that I didn't know about, and Carson apparently recognizes as the 1930s tramp art quilt pattern. But I will say the top part of this dress wasn't really giving quilted for me. It was just kind of giving draped, but she did at least meet the brief with the patchworking on the bottom, and I thought the dress was pretty, so I'm gonna give this a I also want to point out that Suzie got praised for changing up her makeup tonight, giving us a more standard drag glamazon beats versus her usual 20s, 30s Betty Boop situation. And Michelle seemed really happy with Suzie's willingness to show some versatility, but I will say I didn't really mind her signature beat, and I think that she looks great in both. And actually my favorite makeup that I've seen her do was in this challenge where she also switched things up, where she's playing the part of Aja to the song You're Perfect. And I think Miss Suzie did such a great job tonight of capturing that middle finger energy in her rock and roll performance as she's trashing the set, eating popcorn and spitting it out, and then at the end hitting her guitar on somebody laying on the couch. I felt like she was hitting on all those rock star music video cliches in a fun and campy way, while also giving a really good and ironically serious lip sync in those mirror moments where she was drawing on it with lipstick as well. Suzie Toot, you're perfect, you're beautiful, you're hot. And next up, it's a bird, it's a plane. No, it's Sam Starr, who on the runway is giving what Joella thought she was given on the runway tonight. Literally when you buy it online versus when it arrives. Y'all, this look from Sam is absolutely incredible. And this was another moment where I'm watching Sam on the runway thinking, wow, she just gets it. Here she's got her head in the middle of her beauty rest pillow with the hair splayed out and glued all around her head to create this drama, which is attached to a gorgeously cut quilted gown. Like, this is absolutely beautiful. The gown is stunning on its own. But then the fact that she's camped it up with these details, like this extra large rhinestone zipper, is just so stupid and fun. And I do not often find myself liking words on fashion, but this was an instance where it worked. She turns around and you can see on the back of the pillow, I woke up like this. And again, I feel like this is something I would usually roll my eyes at, but it works with Sam's drag. Like, she can do those kitschy, campy things and also look good doing it. To her, I say props to you, mama. This look is hot. And in the challenge, Sam is playing the role of Tamisha Iman and is joined by Acacia Forgot, who's playing Candy Muse, and their song, Star Quality. Cause baby, if you don't have star quality, then I guess you left the Ella at home. Period. And these two see the script and have the idea of doing a little bit of tango dancing in some red outfits that have fringe. And this idea of dancing with your partner who you're kind of fighting with in the song is, I think, a good one, conceptually speaking, but was, I think, just a little bit awkward here because it seemed like they were both trying to dance from memory and weren't doing a specific choreographed dance. And so there were moments where it was kind of funny, but also obvious that they didn't know what it was they were trying to do. And so then to, I think, cover that up a little bit, they shot some funny shots where they were fanning themselves with the roses in their mouths. And their delivery on the track and lip sync was fine. I just was kind of bored watching this performance and was surprised that one of them actually didn't end up in the bottom. And the performance overall wasn't bad. I was just looking for like a little more concept or execution on a bigger storyline. And so I leave this duo with like a warming up. And next up, in case you forgot, it's Acacia Forgot, who on the runway is wearing a dress made of quilts that were made by her mother with a wig accessorized with doilies made by her great grandma. And I absolutely adore how she is repurposing some family heirlooms into Drag Race history. And this country farm woman style of drag seems very true to who Acacia is. And honestly, I think this is a cute dress. Is it the most sickening piece of fashion? No. Is it a crazy concept? No. Is it gonna be anything that I think about like more than today or tomorrow? Also no, but it's cute and it is quilted. But it is just a little boring. I think so I'm gonna leave it with a soft rock. And next up, feeling bothered, it's Onya Nurve, who on the runway says she is wearing some African quilts that have been pieced together square by square, which you can see adorning her dress in an almost sash-like way as it wraps around her body all the way into the bottom hem of the skirt of that dress. And I absolutely love the big, bright, bold colors in the quilting of this dress, and now she's matched those really well to the headband because this look really is about the hair, about the dress, about the quilt, about who Onya is as a person and her heritage. The proportions are right and the quilting is fun, so I'm gonna give this look a hot. And over in the challenge, put your lighters up. Ew. Onya is singing the role of Laganja Estranja in Put Your Lighters Up, which is a jazzy track with some scatting mixed in that Onya executes on flawlessly. And I don't just mean the music video situation of what was happening, but I mean the actual singing. Like, her voice sounds like butter on this track. And like, that wasn't even part of the challenge for the queens to sound good. It was literally just like deliver the lines in an effective manner. But she not only like did that, she just also sounded incredible. And with the way she sounded, she really didn't have to do much in the music video, but she absolutely killed it, giving that smoky nightclub back at the jazz club performance. One woman show. The word that they kept throwing around, I think, regarding her performance was captivating, and it truly was. This was hot. And next up, it's Lexi Love, who on the runway is giving us an insane piece of fashion. This look is crazy, absolutely insane, and so bizarre and dark and gorgeous. Like, she is not just giving us drag or drag fashion, but she is giving us fashion. This look is sick. There truly are rhinestones in every single stitching and hem of this look. It is so sparkly, and for an all black look with this stage lighting is quite the achievement. I love the headpiece, the silver applique, and how everything is just looking so like the most gorgeous thimble you'd ever see in your entire life. She said she had to take a second mortgage on her home to pay for these runways, and might have been worth it because this look is hot. And in the challenge, she's singing the role of Jasmine Kennedy, and This Is Your Moment. And this was like a slower, grander, big musical solo kind of track. And while the song would have been really cool in the hands of like a super talented vocalist, I think it was also fun to just see Lexi's approach to this being so casual, because it had that element of relatability, and also I think allowed her to focus just on the comedy of what she was doing here, being this dolled up beauty queen in bed and ultimately falling down to her death at the end. She had her moment, sang about it, and then she died. This was hot. And lastly, it's Kori King, who on the runway is giving us drag family eleganza, where she reveals to the world that her sister Plain Jane and Atlas created this look for her. And let me just say first that I actually think the quilt part of this is pretty. Like, that's a unique quilted fabric, and I think it could have worked really well had it not been so piecey, because the way it is constructed is just actively working against her and the fantasy and illusion of it all. Because Michelle does point out the breastplate bib line in the back when she turns around, but honestly, I think the bigger issue was more so in the side, where we've got her arm, the bib, the corset, and then also the leg stocking, all being like different colors and textures. And had all of that just been wrapped up in that really pretty quilt material in a proper gown, we wouldn't have been having this issue, and I think this look would have been great. I will also say though, the hat maybe was a little questionable, but as do we all make questionable hat decisions from time to time. I'm still though gonna give this look a pass. And in the challenge, Kori is singing the part of Kennedy Davenport in Glamazon. And of all the iconic moments included in this episode's challenge, I've gotta say this one's probably my favorite, because it references maybe the most iconic sequence of words to ever be uttered in the English language ever. And I quote, "After a long night of hooking, Trey didn't like the session, so he had gutted me and set me on fire. But you know I didn't die. I had crystallized, and now I'm a Glamazon, bitch. Ready for the runway." And Kori's track, I'll say, is probably one of the more difficult to make work tracks, considering the production is kind of like a song you might hear at graduation where people are walking across the stage and getting their diplomas. And it's not to say that couldn't work, but I think Kori was having trouble finding a direction for her music video to go, because her idea is she's gonna cover up her dress that she created in last week's design challenge with a piece of yellow fabric, and then have it reveal to all of the crystal rhinestones underneath when the song starts singing about her being crystallized and ready for the runway. But as the girls were kind of pointing out to her during rehearsals, like, it wasn't translating on camera that she's going from yellow fabric to rhinestone fabric. But the bigger issue is that for the better 2/3 of this music video, Kori's just kind of rolling around in a pile of feathers or dancing a little bit in front of a brick wall. And it comes off kind of as her taking things a little too seriously, which she then tries to remedy by going 100 miles per hour in the opposite direction at the end of this video when the vocals drop out, because she starts sitting on eggs and having other girls crack eggs on her and then falling over and stumbling as she's trying to make it through the set. And that is how she ends this music video. And honestly, that was funny, but I'm not sure the payoff of what happened at the end was enough to justify doing nothing basically for the first 2/3 of the video. So I guess I'm gonna have to give this a And concerning placements tonight, in the top 3, we've got Crystal Envy, Suzie, Toot, and Onya Nurve, which honestly felt very correct. I had no qualms, issues, comments, or concerns with this top 3. This was right. And the bottom 3 are Arrietty, Joella, and Kori King. And Joella and Kori didn't totally surprise me here, but I also did think it was a weird coincidence how both of them had tracks that seemed to drop out the vocals for the last 10 seconds of their songs. And it kind of left me with the question of like, A, why did that happen like that? And also B, what were these queens supposed to do in those really empty sections of their songs anyways? I will say that Arrietty's position in the bottom 3 here felt more like the producers working on storyline arc than anything else. Because as we've heard, Michelle's not the biggest fan of Arrietty's makeup and has already commented on it twice. And I think the producers saw an opportunity here for her to be in the bottom and receive the critique about her white paint, and then hear the positive praise that Suzie got for switching up her makeup on the runway this week. The two that actually have to lip sync tonight though are Joella and Kori King, which again, considering what happened in the episode, didn't surprise me, and Joella deserves to lip sync just for wearing that outfit alone. But this also did feel like the puzzle pieces were just falling a little too perfectly into place again this episode, because we've already seen the setup of Kori and Joella not liking each other in the 2 untucks we've seen, and now here they are in a lip sync for their life. Coincidence? I'll let you decide. And when I found out they were lip syncing to the Pussycat Dolls buttons, I was gooped, gagged, shocked, and excited. But then the second I realized that Joella was trying to lip sync with RuPaul's painted face on the back of her mattress for a good 6 to 10 seconds without turning around, I said, oh girl, we're in danger. And in danger we were. Finally though, Joella does take off the mattress, and when someone in the back yells, thank you, which was correct, thank you. But honestly, I'm not sure Joella's lip sync got much better. She clearly did not know almost any of the Snoop Dogg rap in this track, and generally just seemed to be struggling on that stage, finding her space and dancing and figuring it all out. But I really gotta say her performance in this lip sync was definitely a... And honestly, Kori's was just kind of okay for me. Like, she definitely did what needed to be done to win the lip sync, but it didn't feel like an inspired performance from Kori, which to her credit may have mostly just been because there was a giant mattress dancing around on the stage next to her. And so we see Joella sashay away, which feels very bittersweet because was it her time? Yes. Was the writing on the wall? Yes. Did she have RuPaul and every other queen in that room against her? Yes. But oh my God, if she did not give us some good TV in Untucked and in the episode in general. The drag delusion, the telling queens that she's gonna send them home to their face, the talking about busted queens with the crazy wig. I mean, just like everything that she did in Untucked was iconic. And honestly, I think a really great use of her time on this platform. And I am looking at what Joella did as a package and really appreciating that, wow, with only 4 episodes, she became the main topic of conversation in almost every single one of them. And to do that takes a true diva. And so she may get the golden boot, but I just know that she's gonna be laughing all the way to the bank with that one. And as my final thoughts concerning this challenge, I really enjoyed it because for the queens, it was a great test of several different skills like acting, directing, and of course performance. But it was also so fun for us as an audience because it was a good mix of scratching that drag race nostalgia itch, while I think also giving just enough freedom and creativity to the queens to really turn these old references into something fresh. And it's my hottest hots on the runway. I'm gonna give it to Lexi Love, and in the challenge, Onya Nurve. I also asked my patrons to vote on their hottest hots, and this week they've chosen Crystal Envy on the runway and Onya Nurve in the challenge. And lastly, I want to say thanks so much to you for watching today's video and to give a special shout out to Pierre D, who's just joined my Patreon at the hottest hot tier, and Ashton, Felicia, Matthew Burns, and Will and Tana, who are all supporting me at my Bussy Queen Collector tier at patreon.com. See you later. Love ya. Bye.